Hey everyone, welcome to Power Hour. We're going to wait just another minute or so before we get started with the talk. Stick with us. All right, just give us one more minute. It's just 1 minute past the hour. I still see a bunch of people heading into the session. I know we had a lot of interest in the topic of automation, so we'll get started in just 1 minute. All right, I'm going to kick us off and get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Power Hour. My name's Dee. A lot of you hopefully know me by now. I'm Chief Product Officer here at Syncro. I'm pretty excited about this series. We've gotten a lot of interest. We designed it to really help all of you just get more out of the platform. We want to provide practical, real world guidance. We're taking your feedback after these sessions and in these sessions, and really just want to give you direct access to the people that are building the product, using the product. Sometimes we're bringing in partners, other times it's our team. Our goal is that you leave the session with something practical that you can take back into your everyday right away. So today's topic, pretty popular one, really exciting. We're focused on automation, and it's going to be both ticket automation as well as automated remediation. Daniel Hedges is our presenter. Daniel is a Syncro expert as well as a senior sales engineer here, and he works with our partners every day, and so has a ton of insight into the ways that people are using the platform to get value out of it. Before we dive in, and thank you to Bill and other folks pitching my tips on how to appropriately interact with us in the session. I would love it if folks could use the Q&A module instead of the chat. Feel free to chat with folks. That's great. But if you have a question for Daniel that you want him to address in the session, if you could use the Q&A, that would be really helpful. It makes it much easier for us to answer questions. And then we are recording this. We will post it. It'll be available in the Syncro community, along with some key takeaways and resources right after the session. And so with that, I am going to hand it over to Daniel. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. I'll walk through our agenda today. We'll start with automated remediation. We'll take a quick pause, and I would want to take questions on automated remediation, and then we'll move on ticket automations and do the same. And then any time left, we'll do an open Q&A. For automated remediations, we're going to look at three main types. The way we want to think about them is specific notifications for specific alerts, linked PSA actions, and then automated RMM actions. For ticket automations, we're going to think about these what I like to call automate assist, and this would be like from the point of view of or the job role of a dispatcher or IT manager, how we can use ticket automations to organize and categorize and prioritize, which I did not put on the slide, and how we can do time savers and kind of like save macros or shortcuts. But with that, I will share my screen. I think we're good. Always the exciting part. Okay. Automated remediations. So I think a lot of people overthink automated remediations, and they think it has to be this really complex thing that does all the things on these endpoints and it solves all the problems. But there's a ton of value in just starting with real simple ones, especially if you're struggling on, how do I build an automated remediation? I think one of the most valuable ones is a specific notification for a specific type of alert. Our main notification center, when it fires out for an RMM alert, it just fires everything, right? There's no way to slice and dice or parse or make a decision. And to do that, you would want to use automated remediation. So let's actually look through an example. I will say this is probably, I clicked the right one here. So in this particular use case, we're thinking about a RMM alert that's fired for a offline agent. I want to look at all servers. Maybe I have other offline agent alerts. And now I want a very specific notification to happen where it's going to then send an email, maybe to a group email. And then I could also have it email the end user or customer. Hey, we're already working on your issue. And we can do a little bit more here as well. Let's say I want this automation actually to run outside of business hours. Where's my business hours? Because during business hours, I want a different flow to happen, right? So I could have different customer filters as well. So if I want it not to fire for a particular group of customers, I could do that as well. And I'll also mention too, for specific notifications, we also have the integrated SMS. So you can send a text message, maybe not one after hours, but maybe yes, if it's important enough. But this is the first one, specific notification for specific alert. And I will now go back. And the second idea, and I've also, I guess one other thing I didn't mention is these three main types, we can mix and match these two. They're not, you don't have to just do one or the other, right? You're going to group them together. And so this is also an example, but focusing on a PSA action. All right, so for this particular example, I built a process monitor looking for unapproved or a remote screen sharing tool that we maybe want to block for some reason, AnyDesk, or maybe log me in. We don't want these running on the endpoint. So what are we going to want to happen? We want a ticket to be created. So here's my PSA action. It's going to be pre-filled out. I want to use my template tags to fill in information about the alert. And I also want to pipe a notification into a Teams channel as well. So let's actually look at that, as I hopefully have an example on my test Teams account. So here you see I have a test channel called automations, and we can see here it's grabbed that automation, details of that output of that alert, and it's piped it directly into this particular Teams channel. That's a great way to, any Teams or Slack is a great way to build out some of the automations here. So this is a simple example of the PSA action. All right, we'll move on to automated RMM action. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory, and we'll look at a more complex one here next. But for this automated RMM action, we're saying, hey, the RMM alert that we're looking for is a low disk space. And I do not want this particular automation to run if the asset is a server. And then what's going to happen, it's going to automatically run a cleanup script that I've pulled in from the library. And this would fire right away for me. All right, so now let's take it a little harder. And how could we use it to do all three? Combined all three. All right, so for this example, we'll start with our condition. We have a RMM alert that's fired from our managed Windows Defender integration. I want to select it for a particular customer, and I want it flagged as, is it a VIP endpoint or asset based off the policy folder name? All right, well, what's the first thing I want to happen? I want an antivirus quick scan to run schedule out immediately. I could also do a full scan. I'm going to have a PSA ticket filled out with information. It's going to pull in the asset. We're going to flag it particular ways, urgency, all the information about this particular alert will fill into the ticket. And I would also want a communication So go out to the end user. Maybe I want to make it a little more vague so they're not worried, right? But I can say, hey, just give us a call about regarding your computer. I think this is a pretty good example of how you could use all three of these types of ideas together. All right, and so now next, we'll build a quick example. All right, so I'll build one together here with you. So let's take the use case of our new warranty feature, which is available on Teams or the core as an add-on. And I would like to just quick mention that the warranty feature also works when you add manually warranties for like custom built computers, right? The same functionality works. It doesn't have to be like a Lenovo or a Dell. And so we're going to say my alert is warranty expiration. And if, let's see here, and I would want to maybe run it for a particular customer or not a particular customer. If I want to like filter out my own assets from this. And then I just want to send a quick email. Let's send an email if I can choose it from my drop down. Send a customer email. I'm going to come down here to my template tags, and quick trick, if you just type RMM, you're going to be able to get the asset information from this particular alert. So there's the computer's name. And then I would also want the output of the alert, which is called formatted output. Have that in the body. But I can say like warranty alert. Please contact us about warranty information. I can also do it into Teams, maybe for internal purposes. If you want the business name, the customer name, a lot of time computers are named pretty similar. Look for this tag right here, customer underscore business name. All right. And then you would grab your Teams, whatever your Teams webhook was there, and it would pipe it straight in there for you. If you don't have the Teams option, I think you just have to go to the App Center and flip it on if you don't see it. The posted Teams or Slack might work as well. These are just generic webhook pushes. All right, so I am going to stop here and let's review if we have specific questions on automated remediation. I guess I would like to say a couple other things. If you're just looking for automations for like process and service up or down, you can already build that out within the policy, process, and service monitor set. Like that already has native automation in it. It will start, stop the different processes for you. So don't be like me when I originally tried to do this a long time ago. I used some like complex script to try to restart a service. You don't have to do that. That's already natively built into the platform. And I guess I did forget to mention this, but at the end of the call, I'll have a quick automation reference guide posted in the community, and I'll have a couple of these examples. Plus, I already have really detailed examples for other different automations you can build, like how to have it interact with ticket time and closing tickets based off certain conditions and using more script automation. Okay, I'm done. Questions on automated remediation? I have to find my question panel.
We've got a few in here. And so I think there's one specifically here around the run antivirus scan. So does the Syncro internal run antivirus scan instruct Windows to run a scan with any default AV or just with Defender?
Sure. Good question. So the build I showed, or the example, right? This is specifically for any of the antiviruses that Syncro integrates with. So this would also work for Bitdefender, right? So Bitdefender AV detection. Then when I come down here and I choose Syncro internal, right? This is looking at what AV is the integrated AV, NCSoft, Webroot, Defender, or Manage Windows Defender, Bitdefender. If you want your own or a different third party, you would just have to use a script to run instead of this internal one. This internal one will pick whichever one is any of the ones we integrate with natively. And they all have the option for quick or full scan.
Great. I'm going to ask you one more, and then you can maybe go through and start picking them off the list. I figured I'd give you a second
Oh,
to
sure. Thank
take
you.
a breath. So one more I'll ask you, which is, can you automate to an action and like create a ticket or add time to a ticket?
I see this one, such as full drive. Yes, you can. And I have a very detailed walkthrough. We can quickly just go over how you would think about or do this is what you need to do in the automation is well, you need to convert a ticket, and then we need to pipe that ticket number into a script, and then the script needs to have logic to add time into it. So that's just a quick overview how you want to do it. I didn't want to quite go through that and lose people in the scripting module, but if you look in the community, you can type power user, and I'll have it in the quick reference guide, but it has very detailed steps exactly how to do this. So great question and popular ask. Yep, so it would look like this. Sorry. Now I gotta remember what I call it. Fully processed ticket in time. So then it's the wrong one. Well, I do forget exactly what I called it. The walkthrough does have the script already pre-built for you in the library, so you can just add it and gives you the details on how to do it. It would be useful to have common automations pre-built. I definitely agree. You know, always reach out to me. I have examples also posted in the community for you to copy. Next one question here. Not always sure if anyone struggles. Any plans to improve the automation to run at actual time rather than hourly? So I think this is about ticket automations. If you want to get AR to run 30 minutes with no response to a customer, will it only alert on the hour? So I'll cover ticket automations. I guess I didn't quite explain this part of automated remediation. Automated remediations fire immediately for all alerts that match them. So when you have an RMM alert fire, if there's multiple automated remediations that it would match against, they would all fire in real time. For the ticket automations, they run about every hour, right? So a little bit after the hour. And there are different ways you can maybe have it work a little differently. But to get real-time ticket automation, that is available on the team plan. Can you create an automation to focus on an event log? I've been trying and it doesn't seem to trigger. I will say the event log RMM alerts are a little tricky just with the syntax of how it wants you to type it in. Again, not to overkill it here, but I do have a very detailed walkthrough post that gives you step-by-step instructions on how to build it, what to look out for the event log builder. Maybe you're interested when a user logs in, like how can I build that out? Very detailed walkthrough in the community, and it will be on that quick reference guide for you as well. Okay, enter live. Any more? Don't think so. Oh, do I have more?
Yeah. What is the process to integrate into Teams? I think you showed it, but maybe quickly.
Sure. For the Teams integration, you'll head over to your App Center, and I think you just type the word Teams, and it's literally just a checkbox. You click check, hit the checkbox, enables, and then you'll have that option in the drop down. When you're in Teams itself, you just need to create a webhook. They've changed this over the years, but so like here's my little Teams account. You'd like go into a channel you want to push it into, and this is a great way to also do ticket notifications. But I think it's something like workflows, and you just type like webhook. You go send a webhook. And when you walk through this, it gives you a URL that you can like copy paste, and that's all you need in the Syncro side. Yep, if you don't see Teams here, just go to the App Center, look for Teams, and you just hit the enable button. For the warranty automation, how do we point it to a custom field rather than warranty in the Teams version? Sure, you can do this. So let's take a quick look. So in the custom field data, you can look at and parse. So we'll look at this one. So instead of the warranty built-in pre-built one, if you did want to look at a particular custom field value, you can condition asset custom fields. And let's see here, age of PC based off install. This is a custom one I built, and I'm looking for a particular keyword. I guess this one doesn't do greater than or less than, so you'd want to look for a text. A text one maybe is better. But this is how you would do it off a particular keyword. So here's a good one. Asset custom field BitLocker key contains nothing or contains a dash. Right? This means it would be filled out in some way because they all have dashes. Right? So here's another good maybe use case. I know a lot of people have this one set up. Oh, this is a lot of questions. I'm losing my questions here.
All right, let me see. On automations, is there a way to automatically close a ticket once a problem has been resolved?
So for some of the process from the RMM policy builds, it has an option to auto close the alert. So look for that when you're building out a policy. To auto close a ticket, you can use again, it needs to be piped into scripting. So the loss for words here. So when you do the action here in your automation to convert to a PSA ticket, right? When you then need to pass this ticket number, which you can use with the template tags, you need to pass that into a script. And I'm sure sometime in the near future, I'll do a deep dive into the scripting module. But you would want to pass it down into a script with a runtime variable. And then from there, you can do logic. We already have a pre-built commandlet to help you facilitate that. So you would just do like, close alert and ticket. And that would take care of the problem for you. This is a good one, which I definitely see. We get random one-off RAM alerts for machines. Is there a way to automate a ticket generation if the alert occurs more than X number of times? So the answer to this is not exactly how you're saying, so no. But there is a couple of interesting things you can do. So the very first one, let's build this one out. Where did my build a new one here? I know this does happen a lot. So we would do, if it's a memory alert, the different action I want to occur, I only want to occur one time, right? So one time per day. So this is a little bit the opposite of what you asked, but this is something I definitely don't see people use enough of, is called the rate limit. So this would, whichever action you want, like create a ticket. So this is a good way to limit how many tickets are happening for this same type of alert. So only one ticket per week, essentially, is what would happen in this setup. So this would be one. Another suggestion I can give you, which isn't necessarily related to automation, but just set your thresholds higher. I think originally by default, they might be pretty low. I would personally, if it was me, I would set 95 for 15 minutes. That would probably maybe even do more for a majority of the machines. I think I answered this one.
Yeah, maybe another, if there is another one or two, you could do them. If not, we could move on. We are doing pretty well on time, but
Okay, good.
time
Seems
for
like there's
too.
a limit for muting alerts through automated remediation. No single automation can run more than 11 times on a given asset in one day. This is true. This is true. Automation, the automation remediation can only run a certain number of times, 10, I believe. But what you can do is you can have scheduled maintenance. So I think this is built in. Their maintenance one, enable maintenance mode. And so then the automation, based off whatever condition you're considering, you can have the endpoint enter a maintenance mode automatically for you, and that would suppress the alerts for you for that window. This action is also available in the scripting module, and it might have slightly different time durations for the maintenance, but this is one way you can maybe tackle that problem if you're trying to limit or enter maintenance mode or mute alerts. Hopefully that will help a few people.
Cool. Well, I think we got a perfect plant question to potentially move on to the next section,
Okay,
which
I'm ready.
can you have a ticket creation automatically trigger a script or another action?
So the answer is no. There's no PSA actions into the RMM. It would always flow the other direction. So it'd be RMM into the PSA. No PSA action would trigger any kind of endpoint action. For that would clarify that. But yes, okay. We will. There's time at the end. I'll circle back. But let's move on to ticket automations. Ticket automations. All right. Now, I have flagged all my examples and what I want to walk through today as hourly. One, because I can easily move and change the order. So we'll see what we'll walk through here today. And I would like to say some of these probably make more sense as a different automation type, but there's still value. And it still works in a lot of cases if it's just the hourly ticket automation. So we'll keep that in mind. So to start, when we're thinking about ticket automations, a great way to think about it, especially if you're like, well, I don't know what kind of ticket automation to make, is this idea of automate assist. And we're thinking about it from the point of view of a dispatcher or someone trying to fill that role or an IT manager. What is low-hanging fruit that a dispatcher would have to do or a IT manager would have to do that we can have Syncro do for us? And two good examples I like in this particular lane would be I want to build the ticket automations to help me find ticket data entry mistakes or missing data entry. I'm sure not everyone has a perfect technicians or track record with filling out their tickets correctly. So instead of having like a dispatcher or manager like be a hawk over the ticket queues or ticket views, why don't we have the automation help us do some of these easy tasks? So the first example I'd like to walk through, let me clean up a couple of my tabs, is going to all be around the data entry. And I'll look through three examples. So the first one is a pretty simple one, but let's say a ticket status is in a particular status and no one's updated it in a certain number of hours. So hopefully nobody's working on a ticket consistently for 12 hours straight. And maybe in my MSP SOPs, at the end of the day, they're supposed to toggle this to a different status, maybe like other or scheduled. So this would be a data entry mistake. And so I'm just going to email the assignee of the ticket, just a gentle reminder is like, hey, please check the status of your ticket. This is likely wrong. Another kind of variation off this, which we'll look at as well a little bit later, but maybe if a ticket's in the new status for too long, right? No one's touched it. Well, then same idea here. Let's get some notification. Let's surface this to the top. All right, missing SLA. So this would be a good example of data entry missing or just didn't fill out the ticket correctly. So in this example here, we're looking at it, thinking about it from the point of view of this particular customer is a managed customer. All managed customers, my imaginary MSP, have to have an SLA. If they don't have an SLA, that's not correct. So I'm going to now run an automation. I'll use here this brand new ticket action we have, add subscriber. So I'm now going to add the manager onto this ticket. Since he's a subscriber, it will now show up in his unified ticket view. I'm going to add a note to the ticket as well that this happened. And I'm going to maybe add another tag to the ticket, maybe to just help identify it with different ticket views. All right, there's other different ways, but this is a pretty good example of how you can find, or how the automation find missing data entry or incorrect data entry. All right. Last one in this is, I did this one because we have the brand new action I wanted to highlight as well. So let's say it's obviously based off a ticket subject keyword or some other indicator that this ticket has to be a certain type of issue type. We'll use printers, for example. So the subject contains the word printers. Well, it's almost always should be a printer ticket. So if that is the case and the ticket issue type is not printers, well, what do I want to do? I want to use the brand new action we just released, change issue type, and I want to now change this to a printer ticket. All right, moving on. So the next type of ticket automations we're going to look at is how can we use the ticket automations to automatically add in troubleshooting steps, documentation, and or training, right? Training workflows or maybe steps or guides for you. Now, this first one, I think many Syncro partners actually do a pretty good job of this one, but however we want to flag our particular ticket, so this will be adding a worksheet to a ticket. So I'm using ticket tags to identify it, but if I wanted to use some other criteria to identify this as an AV or antivirus ticket, I could use any of the criteria. And then I just simply want to add the worksheet to the to that particular ticket. Now, if it was hourly, right, I would probably only want this to run once. But if you had the other automations, maybe on ticket add or ticket create would be a little bit more, make a little bit more sense. But if you're on hourly, you can just have it run once. It's a pretty good, easy one to set up. All right, so this automation simple, but there is a couple more moving parts. So let's say I want to add in documentation or troubleshooting steps into a ticket if it's a particular type of ticket. And I'm in my use case example, all my documentation or passwords are stored in a third-party platform, maybe SharePoint. Hoodoo is quite popular. And so when that happens, our techs are always having to open new tabs and reference or look up wherever their Hoodoo page is. So instead, what we can do is we can build a ticket automation where what it's going to do is going to grab a URL from a customer custom field, and it's going to paste it directly into that ticket as the very first comment for the technician to have one click straight to the page for that customer. And you only need one automation to do this, right? And the only thing that would change is on each customer, you just need to fill out their custom field. I like this one a lot. There is another detailed walkthrough for you, which will be available at the end. But as we see here, I'm looking for a keyword in the subject, maybe password, for example. And when that condition is satisfied, I'm going to then have the ticket automation auto paste in for my technician that direct link to whatever documentation or a third-party platform they need to access that information. You can also do, I think I have an example a little bit later, but you can actually just type out too if it's more troubleshooting related, maybe more detailed or steps than what a ticket worksheet would be able to handle. You can also do this with detailed instructions on how to fix a particular problem. All right, last one. Now, this one I would definitely say is maybe a bit hopeful, but hopefully it gets the gears turning and someone can think of a great way to use this. But let's have the ticket automation email the end user troubleshooting steps, so hopefully they can fix the problem on their own. And I'm going to pick on printers, but my issue type is a particular issue type. And what I want to happen is whenever this ticket occurs, the automation with the email that assigned end user, they could have their own custom troubleshooting steps potentially, or I could just have some pretty basic ones of simple things people always forget. Like, okay, well, you submitted a ticket, but you didn't tell us the printer error, and you didn't even check if the printer was plugged in. So make sure you do those things before we call you, right? Just simple instructions for the end user. Another one actually that was surfaced to me recently is you can also paste URLs here. So let's say it's a request ticket and you need them to fill out a particular form. Well, you can say if it's a request ticket, new user ticket, have the automation automatically email them the link to fill out the particular form. I like that one. All right, moving on. So next idea or way we want to think about ticket automations is how can we use ticket automations to automatically organize, categorize, and prioritize the work you're doing. Now, this works best in conjunction with pre-built ticket views. We won't go over ticket views, but just know that the examples we're about to walk through, you would most likely in a real case scenario have ticket views already built out for this, right? And the ticket automation will move and assign the tickets for you into their appropriate ticket views. So that's the dream or the idea. And I'll go through a couple examples I like. So this is a great one. So this is, we want to flag our tickets or categorize, organize the tickets based off if the end user is a VIP, all right? So this works for the hourly automations as well. If the end user is flagged as a VIP and the ticket itself was not already assigned as a VIP ticket, well, what do I want to happen? Well, I'm going to use my Teams integration again. Maybe I have a high priority channel. It's going to pipe the data about that particular ticket into the channel for me. I'm going to increase the priority of the ticket to a 1. So it's a VIP. They always get 1. And I'm going to add a tag designating this as a VIP ticket. Now, there should be a ticket view for VIPs, and it should be sorted with priority at the top, maybe, or some other way to indicate which tickets to work first, right? All right, next one. Organize my dental office tickets. Okay, so I would say, or at least it's been my observation and history, is a lot of MSPs do serve very specific verticals. Often, they might serve multiple verticals. So we can use the automation to organize our tickets into these different sectors that we serve. If you maybe use dental, you're doing a lot of dental work, or you're doing medical, lawyers, you're doing small government, right? You might have 1 or 2 of all these, and they all take different skill sets to handle often. So let's use the ticket automation, use your customer tags, and I want to automatically move those tickets into their correct ticket view bucket. You can take this even a step further, right? So if dental is where my MSP and technician history lies, so it makes it easier for me to explain. But you can segment dental even more. You can go EagleSoft, based off the line of business application. So the EagleSoft Office, Dentrix, Open Dental, these all require potentially different skill sets to deal with those particular tickets, right? Lawyers use WorldDoc, like as an example, QuickBooks, Sage, right? If that's the type of vertical you're serving and you're dealing with tons of Sage tickets, flag that customer, have the automation flag that ticket for you, and it works great with the ticket views. You get the real-time metrics, so you can say, wow, okay, we're doing great with our dental offices, but our small government ticket metrics are down, right? So maybe just hopefully give you some idea of how you can use that. Stale ticket. So this would be a priority one. So this is a stale new ticket. We want to bump the priority. So the situation would be if the ticket's in a new status and no one's updated it in 24 hours, no one's touched it, and it's not already urgent. Hopefully this is never the case, but what you would want to do is then up the priority to 1. So think about this here. This means a new ticket came in, it's fallen through the cracks, no one's touched it, and I'm going to increase the priority. So it's going to go to the top of the page for whichever, for my technician's view, or even for my own view. Customer follow-up, increase priority. Here's my last example. But this one I think is pretty easy to understand, is whenever a customer replies to a ticket, Syncro's automation in the backend, our backend system automatically flags it to a customer reply status. So if that happens, like I want to increase the priority of that particular ticket, I could do other things to flag it or highlight it, but this is just what I've chosen for our examples today. But that, again, it's going to push it up the list. I guess for that example too, you could do things like email assignee, or let the person assigned know. All right, last one we'll talk, or categories we'll talk about, is kind of like macros or shortcuts. And I think the classic example, which I will walk through, is how can I build out a auto close or auto resolve a ticket if it's waiting on my end user and they don't respond. And I have some other ones here. It's a little bit more use case specific, but so whichever one, request information is missing. Yeah, talk about this one a little bit, but let's talk about the waiting on customer. This is not the right one. Waiting on customer notification. So this is a 2-step process or automation you'd want to build out, but follow along with me here and I'll make sure to have a detailed walkthrough for you at the end as well. So the ticket itself, the technician or dispatch person has toggled it to we're waiting on the end user to reply. Hopefully they've used a canned message of some type, but we haven't got a response in 24 hours. That's my very next condition. And I want my business hours set to only run this automation during business hours. And so I'm pretty sure the very first question is, well, Daniel, what about the weekend? So what happens here is this hours, or the clock, is continuously throughout the day. It counts up to 24, and it doesn't matter what day it is. But if it's an off day, like the weekend, this will flag and say no one responded to me in a day, and you can make it longer to cover the weekend, right? Then this automation, which we'll look at, will then run during the business hours you set. So obviously I don't want to notify my end user to respond to a ticket in the middle of the night, right? Because they'll probably not respond. I want them to respond. So that's why I'm using the business hours filter here. So the automation will contact them and prompt them to give me more feedback during the business hours. And I want to add another condition to exclude that have they been contacted about this already. All right. And now we're going to flow down into the actions. So this first action here is just going to add that ticket tag to make sure this automation wouldn't run again, right? Because we excluded it from above. So it's flagging this ticket. Hey, we've already contacted them to respond. I'm going to use my email customer contact, and very important here is the subject. Since I've formatted the subject with ticket : and I'm using the tag, the template tag, which you can find down here, ticket number underscore, or ticket underscore number, right? And this is important because when they respond to this email, whatever their response is from the automation, that response will automatically flow into the appropriate ticket, this ticket, right? So this is important to remember to do. This works with anything. If you didn't know this, if you email into your Syncro email box, you do ticket : ticket number, whatever you type in adds a public note into that ticket. So when I do it like this, when they reply, that automation's already taken care of for me. And I'm just prompting them, we need your feedback to close the ticket. And maybe I want to add another private note as well. All right, so that's the first step. Now, let's say they're still not responding. I just want to resolve the ticket. So this would be the second automation that would tie together. Now let's think about what's happening here. So it's still in the waiting on customer. We've already had the first ticket automation actions taken on the ticket. So that means if ticket is updated, that updated in hours, that counter has reset to 0. So now it's going to restart counting back up again. And in my example, I've done 2 full days, right? It's going to skip that first automation because we said exclude if it had that particular tag. And then it's going to count all the way back up to 48 hours. So that would be 3 whole days if you're following along here, or if your setup was particular. Again, I'd probably want to do business hours. I don't want to notify them outside of business hours because I want them to actually be aware of this. And you could have another step in here if you wanted. Again, here, when I'm emailing the customer, letting them know what happened, I do want to use that specific syntax. So if they do reply, it does open this ticket and doesn't create a different one. And you can also say, if you just reply to this ticket, it reopens for you. And then last action here, I'm going to go ahead and resolve the ticket. Now, what happens when they do respond to this ticket? Well, the automation is automatically, this isn't something you have to build. Syncro just does this for you. They respond to the ticket. This ticket in the subject is seeing that ticket, updates that ticket, and it's going to automatically change the status for you to customer reply. All right, so it reopens this particular ticket for you. Hopefully that helps a few people that would want that one built out. I know that's probably the first one most people ask for. All right, so here in this particular situation, remember we're thinking about how I can build shortcuts or macros kind of idea, is I'm working with a third-party vendor. I need a part to finish this particular ticket, but I can't get a response from the third-party vendor. Well, I want to do a couple things and also make sure, one, my technician's staying on top of it, and hey, let my end user or customer know. It's like, hey, we're waiting on somebody else. We're still on top of it. We still, we can automate a lot of this for you. So And it's kind of like the setup. The ticket status is waiting for parts, or you can have a waiting on third party when built out. The ticket is past due. So this is a flag you can do. We also have a flag where hours until due date. All right, so you can say if it's 1 hour till it's due, right? It's another interesting idea you can do, but we'll go back. Now I gotta find it. Is past due, yes. And it's past due for more than one whole day. All right, so what will I want to happen? I want to automate notifying my technician, please follow up on this third-party vendor ticket, right? We know we're waiting for a third party. Please follow up. Please call them. You can have more specific information that's relevant to you or the use case. You can see here I'm using interesting ticket tags. I'm giving the link to that particular ticket so the technician can just click on it in their email, giving them information what the due date is, etc. And I also want to automate contacting the end user. I want to take that off the technician's plate, and we're just going to email our customer saying, hey, just want to give you an update on your ticket. Thank you for your patience. We're still waiting for a third party. We're on top of it. If you need more information or concern, you'll give us a call. All right, last one. Request information is missing. I did this one because end users, it's always like, so-and-so started and yesterday we need the new user created right away. So this is thinking about this like a shortcut almost. So what's going to happen here is you could have the automation flag this a particular way, but I think most use case is a dispatcher or a technician receives in the ticket. It's a request ticket. Hey, Jimmy John started yesterday. We need, please create him a user and a email for N365. But they give you nothing else. They're like, well, okay, well, what group should you be in, or what have you? There should be a whole set of information they're supposed to follow. So the technician gets the ticket, dispatcher recognizes the ticket. Oh, missing information. We're going to add, click in, add a tag, and that will then trigger this action that would flow down. It's going to trigger for waiting on customer, and it's going to say, hey, on your request, you're missing information. Please provide me with XYZ. I mentioned this earlier, but you can also say, hey, you need to fill out this form to create a new user ticket or a new user, and give them the link to the form. You can do custom forms in Syncro too with the custom widgets. If you were at the last Power Hour, I believe I showed that. All right, ticket automations. I think that's the last one, pre-built one. So did want to kind of build one together. So let's do this one. So let's do find missing money. Everyone loves missing money, but we will then build this out. So we would do ticket billing status is, and there's a couple ways you can do it, but let's say it's invoice required. So I have a ticket charge added onto my ticket. It's saying it needs to be invoiced, and it's not. When it's invoiced, the ticket billing status changes. And I want to say something like the ticket hasn't been updated in over a month. All right, no action, nothing has happened on this ticket in over a month. Well, this is a red flag. Some notifications happen here. This is a red flag because we automatically bill every month. So if this ticket is required billing, and you can obviously change this to suit your need, but if this ticket's required billing, I know I automatically bill once a month, and this ticket's still not billed after one whole month. This needs to be surfaced, and I want to add a manager or maybe my billing person onto it as a subscriber. Maybe I want to email the assignee. Right? I want to flag this in any possible way I can. Send a text message to myself. I can add a tag, needs billing or needs review. So it surfaces it to a high priority queue or ticket view. But this is a good one. Another interesting way or way you might want to do this is actually do it differently, where you say it is not non-billable and is not invoiced, because we do have the particular is not, right? Because we do have the particular status of partially invoiced. So if you invoice the ticket but went back and add more ticket charges, it could be in that billing status of partially invoiced. So this would be a good way to capture both tickets that are either partially or not invoiced at all and not updated. And you can make this a longer time frame. Yeah, that's it for the prepared remarks. I will now go to questions about ticket automations.
Cool. I can grab one question while you take a second to look.
Okay.
Someone was asking a little bit of a separate topic related, but separate around using scripting to like pull BitLocker keys and populate custom fields and assets with those. And so I just wanted to do a shout out to our last Power Hour, which is posted in community, where Jasper went through exactly how to he had set up custom fields and pulled BitLocker keys, and he has a sample script out there as well for it.
See what I can answer quickly. Can you have an automated process to merge tickets for the same device? Answer is no. Interesting question. I like it. You potentially could write your own with the API, but no way I can think of. There's no automated merging of tickets. This one I've done. Oh, still on some automated remediation ones. Is the rate limit for automated remediation across any machines generating the alert? So to clarify, for the rate limit for the automated remediation, that's for that alert type for that machine, right? So if that alert type happens for a different machine, it has its own counter. Can you set it up where if a ticket is created so many times within a period for the same alert, it creates a new ticket to research why? I do not know. Probably not. Creates a ticket. So I think this goes back to the, if I had an alert happen too many times in a row, could I have then an action happen? So no native way to do this. I've seen people do some creative stuff with custom fields and their own counters, but no native way to have something happen X number of times, then do something after. No native way to do that, but it's a good idea. I feel like I'm still on AR. Are conditions mutually exclusive in ticket automations? I want to search for the presence of any one or multiple words in a ticket subject, or would I need to create separate ticket automations? So yes, you would need to create different ticket automations for each keyword you're looking for. I believe that's correct. I don't know if somebody else, I have some of the technical support people on the call. I don't think, yeah, if you did ticket subject contains, and you're looking for very specific keywords, I believe it would require a different ticket automation for each one. See, Alyssa is grabbing that one too. Just like a community script for libraries, can we get a community script for automations? Automated remediations, great idea. I do have examples for you in the community that you can pretty much copy building out. But I like that idea.
I think as we were on this call, and we can shoot a link out to it at the end. I think our team created a spot in community, at least to share your best practice automations and kind of discuss those. But we can also look at, the potential for a more formal automations library as well. But for today, we can send you over to community, where we just created a separate section just for this stuff.
This would be good, but when you send a message to a client, the system does not change the status to waiting on customer. Why does it have to be changed manually? Michael Brown. Well, Michael Brown, I hear you. It should do that. Now, luckily, there is a little shortcut for you to help with this. So when you type out your response in the communication section, all right, so I would want an email, you would type it out. And then when you hit this down arrow, you can submit this email in a particular status. So now I can submit and send the email, and that's doing like 2 actions for you in one. So hopefully that will help you out. See here, there's a lot of them. So I did see one here from Jim about web root triggers. Do you expect to know when webroot is not on the list? I am not sure about your webroot question. I do not know. I would say reach out to us in the community or a support ticket, and someone can look into that for you. Bill asked, does the password link work only if the password manager allows it? So yeah, so in that use case, you could use anything technically, but you would need a unique URL. You can do this with a Syncro documentation too, because Syncro documentation does give you unique URLs. Hoodoo works this way too. SharePoint probably does. I've seen people do it with IT Glue, but that platform would need their own URL for that page you want to pipe in. And as long as you're already logged in, a lot of times you're already logged into all the platforms anyway, then you just click it and it will open straight to that page for you. I've seen people, it works. It works great. It says I use Proton Pass. Yeah, I'm not sure about Proton Pass. But if you want to email me, I'll take a look for you. For sure. Take me up on that, I promise. To take a look. Okay. Is there a way to forward emails from a client that creates a ticket for that client instead of creating a ticket for my company queue? Sometimes it creates if I remove the signature from the forward, and sometimes it does not. So first, I'd like to say ticket email workflows can get tricky. I will give a couple pointers here. One is if the person sending the email into the Syncro system, is already an end user under a different customer, that gets trouble with the automation assignment. I believe you can put a FW colon in the subject, and that flags Syncro to kind of treat it as a special case, and it won't reassign that ticket or create that ticket for you. Additionally, in the email rule automations, you can look for keywords. So if you're forwarding in a particular ticket, you can look for a keyword. So customer ABC, any inbound email with this keyword in it, always assigned to this one customer. Again, though, do note these email rules are not processed if the original email sender is already an end user under another organization. So keep that in mind, but you can use this as well. When a user emails the help, I lost. Okay, sorry. I believe Sean, when a user emails the help desk and a ticket is created, can you show the assets that are assigned to the user? We have had some updates. Is there a section in the ticket called relevant assets? Instead of manually searching for the user's asset. So I got a couple interesting, not necessarily automation question, but I got a couple of interesting things for you here that might help. And I picked the exact wrong ticket to showcase this. So when you're in a ticket, when you click add relevant assets, and hopefully I'm not wrong on this, but you can type, if you type the end user's login, I believe, or contact, it will find it as well. So here you go. I typed in a name, and some of these are my login name. Maybe someone double check on me on this, but I believe in this relevant asset, you could do computer name or the user login, or that might be wrong, and it might be the assigned contact. But you can do that to search here in this relevant asset fields. And in addition, we have added on the end users themselves. We do have the relevant assets, easy way to add that as well. So hopefully that will give you some help, and someone can get some clarification on if it's both of what I'm saying, both the contact and the logged in user. A logged in user also works up here in this search bar. If you type the logged in username, whatever the username is, it will find the assets with that username logged in.
Daniel, we are right at the top of the hour. And so I, don't like to put an end to
I am.
things, but it does seem like there's a lot of interest in this topic. We might need to do automations part 2.
Part 2, sure.
Power Hour. Do you have any other last questions you want to take, or should I wrap up?
If we didn't read your question, reach out to us in the community. I will try my best to answer it. You can email me, daniel.hedges@syncromsp.com. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. But I don't see anyone that could answer quickly now.
Yeah, perfect. So the other thing I just want to mention, I saw a few comments and questions about like, is this in team plan? Is this in core plan? Almost everything that we showed today is in core, right? So the integration with Microsoft Teams and integration with Slack, the automated remediations. The only thing that we really showed that's in team plan is the um, automatic real-time words D real-time ticket automations. So ticket automations will run hourly if you're on core. If you want them to trigger in real time, that was the biggest piece that we showed today that was in Teams. Everything else was in core. I want to thank you all again for coming today. I hope it was helpful. Hop into community where we created a new section for folks to share their automations. We're going to be posting all this great stuff from Daniel, and we can keep the conversation going. And let us know if you have topics you want us to cover. And if there's anyone who wants to volunteer to show up and present, we're happy to talk with folks about showcasing some of your work on here. So thank you very much.